Good morning, students. It's me, Miss Sanya, and today we are back with another lesson. As you all know, that we have completed attempts at constitutional reforms part 3 in the previous lecture, in which I have told you about Simon Commission, I have told you about Nehru report, and I have also highlighted the points of Qaeda-Azam 14 points. So in today's lecture, we are going to discuss further constitutional reforms, that what steps were taken further and what things were highlighted into historical perspective. So let's start with Allahabad address of Allama Iqbal. I am zooming the screen so that you can see very clearly that what exactly the content is written. But before moving forward, hurry up, grab your notebook along with pencil and pen and start noting the important pointers. And yes, you're already familiar with the other guidelines. Now, Allahabad Address 1930. It was delivered by Iqbal during the 25th annual session of the All Indian Muslim League on Monday, 29th December 1930 at Allahabad. Allahabad address plays a very important and prominent role in the history. There were multiple MCQs and question answers in your past papers which were included. I will emphasize much more on Allahabad address. So it was a ceremony. You can say that at Allahabad it was decided, and it was an annual session. You can say that, and when Allama Iqbal went over there, then Allama Iqbal shared his perspective into that annual session. In this address, Iqbal outlined a vision of an independent state for Muslim majority provinces in northwestern India. It means that in Allahabad address, Allama Iqbal highlighted all those provinces, and he also highlighted the point of Muslim majority provinces. He also highlighted about independence, and he stated that we cannot live in the subcontinent anymore because our rights are not safeguarded over there. We needed a separate state so that we could practice our customs, our religious rights, and everything which is related to our community and customs. And yes, he spoke about the minorities as well. Now, when I talk about the features of Allahabad address, you can see there is a map on the right side. I have already explained you this map in the previous presentations, but let me just give you a quick summary of this map. But you can see all of those areas which are in red color, right? All these areas are of Hindu majority provinces. When I talk about all of those areas which you can see in the map, which are of green color, green, light green color, and dark green color, so all these areas are Muslim majority provinces. So you can see a clear division of this thing, and you can also see this thing that Muslims, the areas which were allotted to Muslims were lesser, but as compared to the Indians were having a large area over here. Now talking about the features of Allahabad address. Iqbal proposed that Punjab, Northwest Frontier Province, Balochistan, and Sindh should be converted into one state. It means that all of these areas which you can see over here, it should be converted into one state, and that one state will be given to the Muslims of the subcontinent. He expressed that the northwestern part of the country should be established to unite as a self-governed unit with or without the British Empire. And he also stated this thing that whatever provinces we are demanding, we don't need any rule of British Empire over there. We want to rule it by ourselves. And yes, we also want this thing that in this province or in this one state which would be given to the Muslims, in this one state we will safeguard all the rights of the Muslims. Now moving forward about the Salt March 1930. Salt March plays a very important and prominent role in the history. When I talk about Salt March 1930, then you can see over here Salt March was also known as Dundee March, and this Salt March was started by Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. It was began on March 1930. It was an important part of the independence of India, which you can already see over here. I've also highlighted a picture over here. This was a movement which was started by Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, who was the leader of the Indian National Congress. And you can see the other peoples over here as well. They all stood up on roads, and they were protesting against their rights, and they were protesting and about that what exactly the demands are. It should be heard by the other people. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi started march from Ahmedabad to Dundee in favor of poor laborers of salt makers. The major reason why this march is known as Salt March, because this march was in favor of poor laborers who were working in salt industries. It was a direct action campaign of tax resistance. It was non-violent protest against the British salt monopoly in colonial India. So because the British Empire, they have increased the taxations over there. Due to this reason, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, he introduced this march so that the British Empire should listen to them and the British Empire should reduce the taxations on them. It triggered the wider civil disobedience movement, and then this movement was known as the civil disobedience movement from the part of Britishers. They said that, and they concluded this movement as the disobedience movement by the Indians. Gandhi and his followers were put behind the bars, and political activities of the Indian National Congress were banned by the British government. So you can see very clearly into this that it is written that they were put in behind the bars. It means they were present, and all the political activities which were decided and which were ongoing activities by the Indian National Congress, all the activities were banned, and British government took their decisions against it. So the assignment for today is, you can see the four questions which are listed over here. You have to do these questions into your notebook, and then you have to post all of these questions along with the answers on KP under my instructions. All right. I am repeating the questions to all of you. Question number one: what were the basis on which Jinnah rejected the proposal of the Nehru Report 1928 and later came up with his own 14 points 1929? Question number two: the government of India 1935 was opposed by Indians. Elaborate three reasons of its opposition. Question number three: when Simon Commission reached to India and they faced huge protests from the Indians with the slogan "Go back, Simon," give any two reasons of this protest. Number four: what was the outcome of Salt March? So, thank you so much, class, for listening to us. And still, if you're having any queries, then you can ask me on KP under the comments section, under my instructions. So, you can comment and you can ask us over there. But what I think is that I have explained everything in detail. So, I don't think so that there would be any confusion into your mind regarding anything. But still, if you have it, you can ask me over there. Thank you so much. We'll return back with another presentation for all of you. Till then, take care. Barakallah. Allah Hafiz.